Well, hey friends, and welcome to my channel. And today I'm gonna share a little bit of bad news with you all. And the bad news is that we can't cook everything in our air fryer.
What? No.
I'm gonna give you a list of foods that I don't want you to put in there. So grab your pen and paper. You're gonna wanna take notes coming up. Well, hey gang, if you're new here, I'm Shelly. I'm a dietitian specializing in weight loss using the keto, low carb, and anti-inflammatory lifestyle. It is something that I discovered and started using about 5 years ago when I could not get the last 15 pounds of my baby weight off. I was having excruciating migraines. I cut gluten, went keto, low carb, and anti-inflammatory. I haven't looked back since then. And I work with hundreds of women in my weight loss clinic where I teach the same. So pretty much if you're looking to lose weight, balance your hormones, decrease your pain and migraines, you're gonna wanna subscribe because I tell you exactly what to do in a super fun, cheap, and easy way. So click that subscribe button for me. If you've been following me and if you're new, you know I love the air fryer.
Oh, yeah!
These two are my babies. I have to admit I use my Philips a lot more than I use my Power air fryer, but I'm showcasing them both for you today because I want to really talk about the food and how it might work in this one, it may not work in this one. It's a little complicated. It's kind of like a relationship, but I'm gonna break down the relationship so that you'll be able to use these really effectively and the food tastes good. And we gotta be honest, some of it just does not. So without further ado, here are my list of items we do not want to put in these bad boys. And number one is greens.
Oh, yeah?
Now, I think for a lot of folks, they realize, hey, I probably can't cook spinach or lettuce in here. Really what'll happen is if we put it in our basket, or even if we put it in the Power air fryer, what'll happen, we have to remember, is that air circulates around the food. This is a convection oven, and that's how it cooks. Well, if we have things that are really like lettuce, like our spinach, guess what? Those bad boys are going to fly around and it's just not gonna cook. Now, one thing that I did try, I went against the grain and I tried the roasted cabbage steaks. That's a real popular keto recipe. I have a link up here. You can click below and look in the description box where I did those in our oven. The problem with doing the roasted cabbage steaks in the air fryer, we mainly purchase these to save time in the kitchen. Well, by the time we cut the big cabbage steaks, even if we try it in here, this will cook it unevenly. What's at top is gonna cook, really fast and give it a crisp. Well, what's at bottom will not. So unfortunately, the cabbage steaks did not work. Really, any greens do not work. However, the exception to the rule is kale chips. I cannot stand kale chips, so I'm not even gonna go there. Our next item is
cheese.
Now, we love cheese. A lot of keto diets incorporate a lot of cheese, whereas I'm more of a let's use cheese as a condiment because unfortunately for some of us in the anti-inflammatory lifestyle, we got to get rid of that cheese. So it's a little bit more of a personal situation when it comes to cheese, but mainly in the air fryer, what we have to be careful for is that cheese melts. And guess what? When it melts, it kind of seeps down and it hits the bottom of this and it causes smoke. Well, some folks will say, hey,
There's no cheese?
You can use air fryer liners, which I have a link in the description box for these. These do work nice. The problem is though, is that if the product loses the cheese, it loses the flavor. So for example, how can you make it work? If you're doing grilled cheese on a keto-friendly bread, which I got some recipes for, I'm gonna say that, you make sure that the cheese doesn't kind of go over the edges so we don't get that nasty meltdown. There's a lot of bloggers who have done the mozzarella cheese sticks. They insist you freeze it and it works. It did not work for me, ladies and gentlemen. It just kind of went completely to the bottom. If you're using a recipe that calls for cheese, for example, if you're doing biscuits in here, if it's in the silicone tray, it will work and you'll be okay. But my rule of thumb is make sure cheese isn't the main ingredient, make sure it's a condiment, and you're gonna wanna use one of these air fryers. Better yet, you may just avoid it completely just so you don't get that nasty, funky mess, which anytime that happens in these guys, I kind of turn into Q-Bert, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna get beat up for this one, and that is a whole chicken.
Oh my God, okay, it's happening.
Everybody stay calm.
What's the
Everybody
procedure,
stay calm.
everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm.
Hear me out. Number one, when you buy a whole chicken, actually, you know what? We're gonna go backwards. I can remember, my microwave is over here. I can remember, I'm gonna age myself, when the microwave kind of really got popular, and I don't know what TV show it was, and they put the chicken in the microwave and they cooked it, and all I could think of was, ugh. You know, did you like that? It was just, I can't do this.
I can't take it anymore!
Me personally, that's what it feels like for a whole chicken in these. But we have to remember, chickens are pretty big, so it's probably not gonna fit in here. Now, the exception is an air fryer / rotisserie, which that's what this is. This is the power air fryer, and it can take rope and wrap it and all this kind of stuff. And again, I purchased the air fryer out of ease. Now, somebody's gonna write below. I know they're gonna comment, well, Shelly, I do it all the time and blah, blah, blah. Well, I'm glad you're fancy pants. I'm not fancy pants. I'm not bougie. I'm from the Bayou, boo. So you do you, I do me, whole chicken, ugh, I just don't think it works. I know that might be fighting words, so fight me.
Oh, try me.
The other thing, gang, is that you have to remember air needs to circulate. And if that chicken is taking up a lot of that space, the outside of it is gonna cook, but the inside of it may not. So if you got a big bird and you throw it in something like this, it's just not gonna cook evenly. The next item is something we really don't do a lot in this kitchen, and that is a heavy batter. Why don't we do heavy batters in this kitchen? Well, we're a keto, low carb, and anti-inflammatory kitchen. Most batters contain a huge amount of flour. And we pretty much have cut flour, we've cut gluten out of our diets. However, I do know that some people are just watching this, they're not keto, and they're like, hey, I wanna put some flour on my chicken tenders, which is much different than the whole chicken. Chicken breast, chicken tenders work fantastic. The key of it is though, is that you need to make sure you have something that will grip that batter. I did a video with the air fryer chicken tenders. It was a Cajun style recipe. It's excellent. And we did an egg whitewash. So we took the chicken, we dunked it in the egg whitewash. We put a slight batter of a little bit of almond flour, Parm cheese, and shaked it. So it was not completely engulfed. And you know, folks will say, well, what's the difference? And the best description I have is if you see the commercials where they're frying chicken, and I mean, they are really just throwing it in that flour and throwing it in the fryer itself, not the air fryer, the big fryer. That's the big difference. What happens is when we put it in here or in here, the batter will drop and then it'll hit the bottom and then it'll start to smoke. So you can use a light batter, but not an excessive wet batter. Now, before I get to the final food that we should not throw in our air fryer, I wanna let you in on a little secret. I have an amazing 7-day keto and anti-inflammatory menu that you can scroll in the description, click on, it'll be sent to your inbox. It has a ton of air fryer recipes. And without further ado, gang, I am gonna bring you to the #1 food item that we should not put in our air fryer, and that is excessive dry rub. It's probably not what you were thinking I was gonna say. Here's the deal, gang. I want you all to save money. A lot of times what people will do is they will just kind of shake. I mean, just continuously shake and throw it in the air fryer. Now you can, like we said earlier, do an egg whitewash, do a little bit of seasoning and shake it off. What happens is if we just put the seasoning on it without any kind of spritz of a avocado oil spray, what's gonna happen is, remember, the air circulating, that dry rub is just gonna fly off. So the reason I put that one as #1 is I always want us to save money. I always want our food to have flavor. And so I don't want you to waste the amazing seasoning that you're using. The two things you can do, like we said, the oil, the avocado oil spray, a little bit of sprinkle of the seasoning, or when it's done, you take it out and that's whenever you add your seasoning. Now, gang, I know I missed some. These are just my top 5, but if you have any other suggestions of foods or maybe some fails that you have done that just didn't work for you, my biggest fail was sausage balls. And again, it goes back to the cheese. It was really disgusting. It was really disgusting. Comment below, we'll talk about it. And gang, for more keto, low carb, and anti-inflammatory tips and tricks and shopping secrets, you can subscribe to this channel. And my name is Shelly, gang. Mwah! I wish you all an amazing farewell.